Welcome to the Think Podcast.
Yeah, that's something I've been wondering about as well, because it's not only human beings, but I mean, you've got some of these megafauna. I mean, look at like a Brachiosaurus, Supersaurus. Some of these animals, correct me if I'm wrong, they couldn't even survive in today's climate with today's gravity, right? I mean, how?
Well, I don't know, because they seem to be when you have much larger creatures, they're not just scaled up evenly; they're scaled so their legs are much thicker. They're much thicker legs. You look at the elephant compared to an elephant's not a scaled up dog. Okay, their legs are much thicker proportionally. So I think they could survive in modern times, and it seems very clear that Brachiosaurus and those sort of things were land animals. They were not water creatures. They lived on the land, and they were clearly designed to cope with the gravity. Okay. I mean, look at the lightning. Some of the bones had hollows, and so they seem to be optimized to support lots of weight. There's a lot of optimization for very large, like even the arch shape of the back. The arch is a very strong engineering structure. You look at the arch bridges, and the arch supports the bridge with some struts, for instance, with some lines, some wires. Okay, so even the arching of the back is a support for massive weight. So they were designed to cope with large sizes, and I think also even the oxygen would have been enough for them. I don't know exactly. That's one of the mysteries that I'd like to find out. If we had soft tissues of a Brachiosaurus, I'd love to know how they cope with the size, the blood pressure issues, the getting enough oxygen to the whole body. But I think they must have had something.
Yeah, and there is soft tissue out there, right? There's blood tissue and all
even
sorts of
DNA.
things. There's even DNA?
Yes.
Right?
Dr. Mary Schweitz has discovered DNA in a Hypacrosaurus and in a T-Rex, and there are different biochemical tests used to detect DNA. There's a fluorescent molecule called DAPI, which will give a signal if it actually lands in the groove of the double helix of the DNA, and they've found it. And in the right position expected, and yet DNA should have been totally broken down in a fraction of the time, because you measure how fast DNA breaks down, freeze it to -5 Celsius, about 25 Fahrenheit. Okay, you might get it surviving to 6.8 million years, and it's completely broken apart. But these dinosaurs are meant to be 10 times older, and also lived in warm climates where the breakdown is much faster. So I think that what we're seeing in the dinosaurs is about the right ballpark of something which is about 4,500 years old. That's a sort of the right ballpark for the amount of DNA observed in these things.
Oh, that's incredible.
Also soft tissue, collagen, actin, intact blood cells and bone cells are found there. Stretchy, soft tissue that's still elastic. When you dissolve the hard stuff of the bone, and what's left behind are some blood vessels which are still elastic. So that's quite something.
It just goes to show you how it makes sense that science arose from the biblical worldview, from people who are devout Christians, at least professing Christians, because what happens is, what I've seen, maybe you've seen something similar, is when confronted with the evidence, people who don't subscribe to the biblical worldview, instead of changing their worldview, they just simply change their expectations. I've heard people say, well, what do you know? I guess soft tissue can last 65 million years. And that's just so contrary to everything we know about.
Well, I mean, Dr. Schweitz is trying to say, well, maybe you have iron preserving them, but the reaction she proposes is called the Fenton reaction. Now, I'm a chemist by training, okay? The Fenton reaction is usually used to destroy organic matter. Okay, and there are certain things that would definitely destroy, which she has actually found in these tissues. So she can't say Fenton reaction preserved it, but then it would destroy the things she's found. Okay, so you can't have it both ways. You can't actually say the Fenton reaction happened randomly and actually didn't do everything it would normally do.
Interesting.
So it doesn't work chemically.
So dinosaurs are fascinating.
They are.
My kids are into. I could probably talk to you about them all day.
Well, you'd like my book then, hopefully, my forthcoming book on it.
And what's the title of that again?
Titans of the Earth, Air, and Sea.
Oh, nice.
But it hasn't come out yet, because we're still going to try and lay it out and illustrate it and all that. But the text is written.
Who is the intended audience?
Well, basically high school and above.
Okay.
We have stuff for the juniors. We've got things like Dinosaur with Mr. Hibb. We've got junior books but this is the first one for the sort of adult audience.
Okay. Okay, well, yeah, all the kids like me who grew up in the 80s and 90s and loved Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
We're all in our 30s and 40s now. I'm 37, almost 38. Had to
you're
think
quite
about
young.
it for a
Okay,
minute.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we need that stuff. We want to we want that information.
Well, hopefully it's as up to date as possible because, I mean, the books that I grew up as a kid, being a bit older than you, had a lot of stuff which is wrong, like Dinosaur, the tripod structure of the T-Rex and the tail dragging on the ground. That's totally wrong. Which, by the way, is why I think some of these dinosaur things like the Ica stones are not genuine, because they drew the dinosaurs as people think they looked like 50 to 100 years ago.
Right.
But it's clearly not what they actually looked like, but it's what a forger would have done if he was trying to make it look like the dinosaur according to the view of the day.
Okay. And just for those who don't know, the Ica stones are a number of stones people found with paintings on them of human beings riding on triceratops and things like that, correct?
Yeah, I think they're not to be trusted. I mean, there's plenty of good evidence out there. I think we should stay away from the dubious evidence like the Ica stones.
Yeah.
And a lot of the cryptozoology I just don't think is good evidence. So
Mokele Mbembe, not an Apatosaurus?
No. Well, okay, I won't say no, but I'm saying you got to prove it. Well, not you, but the generic you. You have to prove a picture. I mean, you can't say I don't want to go into Congo because I'm afraid of a dinosaur. Well, just take out your camera. That seems to scare them right away.
Right. No one can get a picture of them.
I mean, preferably a DNA sample would be nice, but even if just a picture, let alone something in a cage or a DNA. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to see the evidence. Otherwise, you haven't got it.